Okay, so next thing to do is make lots of new files. So there was this bug that I noticed right away after the last build came out that if I made a new file and typed into it, it would crash right away. Not all the time, but like often if you just typed for a little bit, a bunch of weird stuff would happen. It would fail to parse the text if you were in a code file. It would fail to parse. So if you were like typing in a comment, for instance, it wouldn't recognize that it was a comment, and it would crash after you typed for a few letters. Like if you typed in enough or pressed enter a few times or something, it would crash. And I never exactly entirely for sure know that I fixed it. I just fixed some other stuff that looked like it was failing in the same position in the stack, right? Like same line of code, same history of calls getting to it, but caused by a completely different user. Like, I, as a user experience of the crash, did not think it was the same, but it could have been, maybe, possibly, logically the same thing. Not sure. So, to confirm that the bug is gone, or rather, to confirm that the bug is still there, or to try to gather evidence that the bug is gone, I'm now going to do a quick, extremely goofy test in which I'm going to make lots of files. The problem is just making a bunch of empty files. I have no reason to believe that that will cause it because it required typing in a little bit to cause it. Plus, it was never the first thing you did. Like, if the first thing you did was to make a new file, it would not fail then. It usually only failed if you'd been using it for serious stuff for a little while and then you made a new file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a very short program over and over again. We're going to shoot for like 30 times. I think the program I'm going to write over and over again is going to be Hello World. And we'll see how this goes. We're going to do it into files that are actually being saved out. So we need to go into tests. And here we go. new1.cpp. Okay, let's try it again. And again. Hmm. Let's try using the new command instead of the open command and see if that makes any difference. Okay, so still no luck after that many. Let's change a few more features. I've been saving the file every time, but that's not really helping because it's not crashing. So let's try hitting new file, and then I'm going to type something in, and I'm not going to save it. New file again. And same thing again. Okay. We're going to do a little endian file numbering. Wait, that's not going to work. It's not going to help sorting. That's going to show up at positions. How do you ever get numbers to sort properly? Oh, you have to append the zeros to all of these. Never mind, we'll do it big endian then. Lame. Okay, so still no luck. Another new idea. Let's put a comment in first. Come on, break. I'm doing everything weird. Come on, break, break, break. Come on. Alright, you can do it. Break. Okay, so that's not working. Let's try pasting in the comment and then typing everything else. Okay, come on. I know that this bug existed. There's so many reports of it. I hit it so many times. I was so annoyed, and I have no idea what happened to it. I think it must be gone. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, so I've typed in plenty complex stuff and not gotten it. It's not just about this, it's about something else. If it is still there, it's about something else. So paste at the beginning, a bunch of new lines. Copy. Ugh. Switch back to this. Okay, so none of that is helpful. Let's try instead. Let's try instead, what to try? We can try running that first, just to get that extra buffer up there. Huh. There's a pretty good spot. Alright, let's try typing in something different, because I'm getting too bored of this. Boom. Alright, I can't recreate it, so I don't see the bug anymore. Demoted. Demoted. Promote. Demote. Okay, that's the order I want to do these things in. So let's look at the modifiers on the scroll wheel. I first want to see I don't have any cases of mouse wheel with the modifier working right now. So let's try control mouse wheel, and then the command that was suggested by Jim was mouse wheel increase or decrease face size, I believe. So let's see. We used to have a command called something something face size. Where is that? Here it is. This is in base commands. Perfect. It's exactly where I wanted it to be. So this is mouse wheel change face size. Reads the state of the mouse wheel and uses it to either increase or decrease the face size. Okay, got it. So, the way this wants to work is, first we need to get the mouse state. And then, by the way, you right here, you can go ahead and change face size. There we go. Now I need the, whoops, get out of here. 4coder custom documentation. Wait, I don't need that. I got the example code. Wait, I need it for mouse state. Let's see, what do you got to say about mouse state? Get mouse state. Perfect. Nice. Okay, we get the mouse state. Show me the mouse state struct. Wheel, that's what I care about. Do I have a thing that does like timing? Like, do I have any good timing things? Get file time, anything like that? Show me time. No, I don't. Okay, so we're going to expand the API today for that part of it. Let's see, if it's microseconds, then it wants to be 500 times 1,000. And then we don't really need that shit anymore. Alright, now what I want to figure out is where to put this new function in the sort order, since that's something I actually spend time considering, I guess. Down here at the very bottom. Right. So in order to get a timestamp, you have to dereference two pointers. You have to dereference the app pointer into to get a models pointer, and you have to dereference you have to dereference 3 pointers. No. The app pointer. No, yeah, you have to dereference app to get models. You have to dereference models to get system, and you have to dereference 3 levels of indirection to the actual function call. I should fix all that. What I should do is I should have all of the system functions loaded into the models struct. That's what I'll do. Then I could dispense with these system function pointer structs entirely. And well, if it was all in models, I should really just put it straight into app links. But seriously, if I put it into app links, then the 4coder custom code has access to it. What I used to do is I would take this function here and implement it per operating system, and then I would load those separately into the app links struct. The app links struct, in addition to having the context that is used for calling them, also has the pointers to all of the functions. So I feel like the best thing to do would be to get to a point where all of the system functions can be implemented on a per system basis, so that you don't have to call nowtime right here. Nowtime would just be implemented here. Maybe it would have to be implemented twice. I don't know. It's just annoying me that in order to get a timestamp, which is a thing you would use when you're like, hey, I want to make this thing run really fast, forces you to wait for 3D references. There's no way to measure an interval of time accurately when you care about, like, obviously you never measure such a small block of time anyway, but it's annoying. It's annoying. I'm gonna worry about that someday. Okay. What's the next trick then? Just give me this. There we go. I think we have base commands done. We have it bound, right? Yeah, we're just gonna build and try it. And what we're really trying to do here is we're trying to figure out if there's a problem with wheels and modifiers at the same time, which I wouldn't be surprised if there is. But I would be a little surprised because I thought I had, if I did like mouse left, I guess I just have mouse left release. I don't actually have any modified versions. So likely none of the mouse shit actually supports modifiers, and maybe that's what I want to change here. And I don't know, we'll have to think about how to do that. That could be a limitation of the platform layer the way it's currently written. Okay, so step 1. Hey, speaking of which, That is not a microsecond timer. Where is my... Darn it. Okay, so that one's measuring microseconds. Wait, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, you can tell because we get OSX timer seconds, and then we're multiplying it by 1,000,000. That one's also in microseconds. So this one is just the nonsense. Okay, we don't have query perf anywhere. There it is. Okay. Alright, so it's backwards because down should be smaller and down is going bigger. And it's a little bit too slow, but that'll be a cool command. I like that. Jim, thanks for the idea. Okay. So now what we want to deal with is the fact that we aren't getting we're not getting that control modifier isn't coming in. So I think I know where that happens. That's over here. Here it is. And yeah, you can see that when I do this, I don't have any modifiers in there at any point. What would it take to add modifiers? We just have to set the flags right there. So there's the goal. We want to figure out the current state of the modifiers and write them out right there. Now, in order to do that, we might find ourselves having a little bit of trouble because Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. We're going to get this done for Windows for now, and then I'll do Linux and Mac on my own time off stream. So, let's do it. Okay, how are we going to do this? How do I normally fill the modifiers for key data? So I just pulled off of this thing called control keys right here. Okay, and that's coming off of this. Okay. Keys, keyboard. Where is the step call? App step, there it is, and input. Input dot keys equals the transient key data. Yeah, so I think what we need is X. Wait, I'm curious about something now. Weird. Okay. So you could do that, but then you'd have to do that, and then you can do that. Well, I should think about that. Okay, so I don't know why there's key input data there. I guess I just added modifiers and that's why it doesn't match up, but okay. Where's the spot where we zero out the transient stuff? Main loop. I don't think this has block copy. No, you're right, it doesn't. Perfect. That should do it. We now have modified mouse events, I believe, on Windows at least. Cool, so I can scroll without control, and then I can zoom in like this, but I feel like I don't love how big the delay is, so I'm going to drop it down quite a bit and try to tune that to feel just right. The reason I'm putting a delay in at all is so it's not out of control, especially on Mac where there's like momentum and the amount of the scroll is weird. So I want it to be kind of regularized where if it's very big or small, it doesn't matter. You get a discretized version of any signal, but then I don't want it to be like, oh, every 60 times a second, if there's a positive amount of wheel, no matter how big or small it is, you get step forward, because that would just be annoying. So now we're tuning this. Hey, 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 cool. That feels pretty good. That feels really good. Ooh, okay, that should be good. Now you guys can read the code, right? Let's see what this says. Default minimum base display width. Is that still even getting used? Where does that get used? Here it gets defined. What function are we in? App init? Huh. So, what's kind of weird about that is, I guess that's default minimum display width. I don't know. Default minimum display width. Where does that get used? Nowhere at all. Okay, well you see, this is the advantage of using gigantic text, is it forces you to focus on the code right in front of you and decide if it's any good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, look, this makes no sense at all. There must be a place where this is getting used. So let me just load the whole project. Look at that R. Look at that lowercase r. You see all the detail in that R now. Alright, get out of here. Where's app init? You know what? Just take me back to the top of the file. What file even is this? Oh, I don't want projects. Bring me back to 4edCPP. There we go. Where does this actually get used? Okay, so there we're initializing it. And then in the working set.h and CPP, right here it gets defined. And then on this occurrence, I see it gets written in right there. But why is it a variable? It can't ever be changed, or if it can't ever be changed, why are we doing this whole defining it in a macro and all that nonsense? That's a lot of noise, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so this works now. Alright, new file when the file is already open. I think we all know what that means. If you don't know what it means, then just follow along as I do the next thing. I'm not actually sure what they thought the bug was, because I'm not seeing any wrong behavior here. Yeah, this is all correct. So I might have either already fixed it, or they might have thought it was a bug, but I counted its correct behavior to behave the way it just did. So one way or the other, I'm going to track down real quick. I'm pretty sure I know who that was. So only one person who has the highest probability to submit a bug like that. So I'm going to look through all of my 4coder emails real quick. At the end of the function, it had a null dereference. 4 calls after alloc. Buffer markers on buffer in the render caller. Okay. Pretty sure that that's not a bug. Okay. Can't do that on stream. Can't do that on stream. Can't do that on stream. Not doing that one this time. I'm not doing this one this time. I see, the problem is the plus. Let's go check that out. I think I can do that one. Yeah, this will be a nice one to end the stream on. So, table generator. So, this is saying right here, if C is between 0 and 9, or if it's a negative sign, crazy float 1. Why would a 0 through 9 cause crazy float? So it's always after the E. We are in float, we see an E, and we go on to crazy float 0. Then we expect to see minuses, pluses, and all those things, but I see. So after the first minus, plus, or number, it moves on to that. Right, rebuilding my editor does not cause my currently running editor to change at all. But what I can do is just this. Perfect. Fine, we can do this one. Moving along, single line wrapped. So to recreate this, what we have to do is, I know what we have to do. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to go into tests, long line.bat. Now how do I echo without new line in a batch script? Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to put that into a for loop. Kind of like how I have that example script over here that's like generate batch, and then I'm going to grab that, do that, and then what we're going to do is just kick that up really long. So let's make it 500,000, and then all I have to do is on this side prepare to run longline.bat, and over here I'm gonna just real quick grab this, uh-oh, what just happened? Uh-oh. Alright, debug time. To 31431D0, 231431D0, 2A90. What I want to see basically is 1 past last minus info. 116 still to go and you're running out of memory? How's this happening? 67609. User data is none. So we have a memory requirement of 67609. And our actual arena supports 135168. So we are way off on the estimation, or? I mean, there's no way to verify. There are 797 files in the list. I mean, all of this should have been accounted for. So what's going on? Okay, now what's going on? Visual Studio, wake up. Who are you? And yeah, so that's another few thousand for all the files. Yeah, okay, okay. Does that add up? It's almost 1,000 times a little over 70. Yeah, that would work. Okay, so how did we fall so short? Oh, okay, so one thing is how many folders are there versus files? But man, that shouldn't be that far off. Because, oh, is it using a different one past last? Well, that's not good. So let's see. File name 70632E3. Seven oh six three two E3. Okay, that looks the same, right? 31D0. 31D0. It's the same thing, yeah. Let's see, what to do, how to catch something like this is the real question. Path temp, can I get access to path temp? Do you have that in the debug info still? No? Okay, well that's really lame. What's weird is that it shouldn't crash here at all if end temp memory is actually working. You know what I mean? Because it should be I guess if it doesn't have the next 64 bytes that it needs, it fails here, and it only fails here if the path is actually that long. So this is not actually as long as the node itself. Okay. Okay, fair enough. So, back to asking how on earth did we run out of memory? +12 + 1 Oh, are you allocating 1 byte for every empty string? It's stupid. Actually, you couldn't be, because if this were the case, you wouldn't have a string printing there. You would show me just an empty string. So what's going on with the status string, actually? Ah, I see. You went to push the status string. And there wasn't even space for that, so you gave me the null string. So let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the null there, another one for there's 10. That's how much I'm doing on this one. What am I missing? So I definitely want to eliminate this. And I need to figure out what we're doing that doesn't lead to enough info memory requirement right here. Like, it's not just a little bit off, though. It's way off, because we still have 100 and some files to go. The arena size... Wait a minute. The arena size is massive, and yet we're still not fitting? The requirement is like half the actual arena size. What is that all about? Yeah, okay, so this is twice as big as what we said we needed, and we still couldn't fit it. That's weird, okay? So when we do lister begin new item set, what actually happens? How is max already that big? $67,584. How is it that big? There's the problem. Got it. So I'm counting on this call to clear the arena, right? But it only clears the arena when this call here okay, where is it? Yeah. It only actually clears the arena when this call here goes down this path. It does nothing if it doesn't go down this path. Yeah, we need to actually make sure that it really does clear the arena no matter what. So even if it doesn't reallocate the arena's position needs to move back to user data size. That's what we don't have. Okay, so I think that fixes that. Oops, so first thing we need is we need a good code file over here. There we go. And then we need... oh, what do we need? We need... oh, cool. Okay, we need, interesting. So opening it up if the hot directory has changed doesn't work. That's an important enough bug that I should probably look into it sometime. Open file when list or hot directory doesn't match. Open file when list or hot directory doesn't match list or current directory. There we go. Now, back to the test. Okay, we want to run this one, right? Okay, now, finally, we are going to gen long line. Alright, what happened? New object putter is null. The scratch is too small. Whose scratch is that anyway? That's this one. So that's 2 megs. Okay, I don't like that. That's a low number. So not sure why target memory is half a gig. That seems excessive. We're going to look at that later, but for something like this, I think 128 megs is appropriate. And I think at least 32 megs is appropriate there. That allows for obviously that's not a final solution. A final solution would have to discuss how we're going to do this when Scratch runs out no matter what, but that's a little bit not what I'm interested in right now. How many columns did I ask for? Oh, I asked for 500,000 of these, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 bytes long. That's too long. Alright, okay, we need to try this again. First, I want to deal with the fact that this is not correct. I want 500,000 total columns. Now, I'm not sure why what we see right now is blank. I have no idea what that's about. I wonder if it's scrolling before, if it's failing to get the number of render items it needs, if it's scrolling to the side. 65536 would be the limit if it had anything to do with the size of a short. And we're way past that when it's still showing us stuff, right? Or is it actually the 65536 spot where it stopped showing me stuff? I don't know. I wasn't paying that close of attention. I can't remember. Maybe it is. Yeah, it could be, because I could be using a short for something like the length of a line. I might be saying 65536 is the longest possible line that I handle. I should check and watch and see if that's where it looks like it stops, because that would explain it. Okay, it's done. Yeah, so it's not showing me anything, which is interesting. So, what the person who reported the bug showed was as this thing was growing out of control, them suddenly not getting like other rectangles to render elsewhere. Whereas all I'm seeing is you cross this point here and you stop I don't get why. Weird, right? So I think what's happening is that that's not quite 65536, but if you also take into account all of these slashes that aren't showing up, the line rectangle. So for each wrapped line, there's two extras. Plus there's all of the recs that go to the screen for the background, the four on the side, the top bar, and the cursor. You can see when I bring the cursor into view, I lose one more. And if I bring the mark into view, I lose another one. And if I bring this back out of view, and if I bring the mark out of view, I gain another one. So it really seems like I'm hitting the limit of the number of rectangles available in this view. The way the bug is supposed to work, at least as reported, what was happening was, well, let's try this. There it is. That's what I was looking for. So it depends on which view it's in. That's weird. If it's in this configuration and it runs out of rectangles, it doesn't affect the right-hand view at all. But if this one on the right must be getting rendered first. So I bet if I stand right here and I scroll around over here, yeah. So that whichever one gets rendered first consumes a certain number of rectangles, and then okay, so there's a couple of possibilities. Either we're running out of memory in the render target buffer stuff, totally possible, or we're running out of memory in the render items during the buffer stuff. But that wouldn't have cross-pollinating effects between views, because that happens once per view and gets reset after. So I have to imagine this must be the render target buffer getting filled, hitting capacity. If I do this, then I can see it goes well past that point, and it limits how much I can see over here. If I'm clicked over there, I can't see anything at all, strangely enough. If I go up to the top, now everything's fine. And if I start scrolling down, at some point, there it is. So what must be happening is normally this isn't a problem because we don't render lines that aren't on the screen. But in this setup, this entire line is rendered even though it's not all on the screen. So I need to somehow start filtering things out that are on wrapped portions of a wrapped line that aren't actually in view. You know what I mean? Like if the bottom, basically what I need to say is if the bottom of a character is not in the view, then don't send it to the render target. And that should fix this. Because if we I just want to tap down a couple times here. Boom. Suddenly we're getting this effect, right? And if I keep going down, we're running more and more out of rectangles that we can send, and now we're down to the point where those are the only rectangles we can afford to send, and then boop, we can't afford to send a single rectangle for the entire area, and we get the background color. Interesting. So to fix that one, what we're going to want to do is, let me check my time by the way. Alright, this is a good last thing to do on this stream. We're going to look at item count. There we go. UI item. That's fine. This is the one I want. Buffer render item. That's what I was looking for before. So, right here, I do the call that gets the buffer render data. And like I said, this is all on the Scratch partition, right? I mean, this is all under this, so yeah, this is all being used as Scratch, right? It's part, but it's all under a temp, so it's all scratched eventually, which means nothing I do in one view affects the other view, because even if I ran out of buffer render items for one view, the other one would start from a clean slate. So the thing we're running out of has to be, plus based on the magnitude of the number of bytes I have to output to make this happen, the number of characters I have to be trying to render, it seems like it must be about the render target, because that's got the same sort of scale of size, you know what I mean? If this were running out, we'd be running out much sooner, I would imagine. That's what I'm trying to say. So, inner All right. Inner. Okay, so here's the part of the process that takes those render items that have been computed. Get visual markers. And starts, plus the degradation wouldn't happen in the order of rectangles, it would happen in the order of render items, which would look kind of different. So, yeah, so we have item Y1. What I'm not sure is, I don't know if it's safe for me to skip all the like coloring stuff in between. Like I might have to do all of the coloring work. And the reason I'm saying that is I can't remember if it's possible for that to like if it's like a state thing that builds up over time or not. I guess I would just reread all the code and double check. So if it is a new line, then what we do is we say visual line markers dot color appears to be some external state. Yeah, so right here, for instance, if I have a new line, which I think can happen for wrap lines, okay, so that's not the same as a wrap. Okay. So that's not as quite as concerning. But what this does is, if we see a new line, it updates the state of visual line markers to that color. And every time we see a new line, it does that. So, let's see. What about ranges? How do they work? It has this whole scan index thing, so if we're skipping lines... In fact, how do those work anyway? And have we ever fixed the thing where... No, we never fixed that bug right there. You see that? You see how that line there doesn't show the coloring? It's because we never process its new line. Weird. Okay. Not sure what to do about that. If we skip this, for instance, what happens? I mean, none of this matters, because we're never going to get the isNewLine flag during this process. Here we're checking against index. Up here we're checking against index. Yeah, so honestly, none of this costs very much work. The only one that costs a lot of work is maybe this one. And that one is definitely one we can skip when we are... How about this one? Yeah, that's all skippable too. That gets recomputed every index. Okay. So, I'm pretty sure we can skip it if the item doesn't fall anywhere on the screen, and that's kind of what we want to be able to do. That's the best optimization version of this. So that's what we're going to do. If the item... Got it. I know how to fix that other problem, the scope problem. We're going to do that tonight too, because it's such a cool thing to fix. So, in order to fix this, what we want is line scan index, blah, 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 blah. Where's the item? There it is. Token scanning we probably don't want to skip. Line scanning we don't want to skip. Wrap scanning we don't want to skip. So the scanning stuff here is the stuff we can't skip, I think. Because this is the part that actually figures out which line we're on all the time, and skipping it would throw things off. So I think starting from here, what we can do is say, look, if the item y1 if the item y1 is greater than 0. I think these are all screen space coordinates. Yeah, they would have to be, because we're calling straight to the rendering layer next, which is screen space coordinates. Gonna sit down one sec. So I think this is definitely pretty much an indicator that it's working now, right? We're well past the spot where this was a problem before. Alright, so I think that that part of it just works. So you go away now because we don't need you. The other thing we need to double check is that like rendering still works as normal everywhere else. Like I want to try to do weird stuff like carefully position the if right there. No, that still works. Okay. One last to do for the day. Let me update the people who posted that bug to let them know it's fixed first. Okay, so when we're scrolling to the right, when we have a scope in view, what happens is that blank lines, or rather not even just blank lines, but lines that no longer extend far enough to be in view disappear. Why is that happening? Because there's no render items from the buffer system showing up on those lines, which is what we need to emit one of these things, right? We process one render item at a time. If no render item appears on the line, we don't get the chance to put the line rectangle down. So all we have to do is every time there's a new line or a wrap that we omit, we still put it in, even though it won't show up on screen. We won't change its coordinates or anything. We'll just say right now the buffer renderer appears to be not emitting items that are to the left of the view. We're going to emit items to the left of the view if they are the last item of their line. That's what we're going to do. Okay. You know what's weird is that this thing will do the checks for the X, but it doesn't do the checks for the Y. What we should be doing is actually having render items omitted if they're off the top. I feel like that would be even better. Perhaps the only reason to do that is that it doesn't work with tokens, but doesn't that just mean we would... it's worth checking out later. Can we skip buffer render items that are off the top? See if that worked. Okay. Still no good. Why is that still not working is the next question. Oh, is it supposed to be the first character of the line? I think it has to be the first character of the line for ranges. Yeah. Okay. New idea. These do not ever get force emitted because why would they? That doesn't help the problem. They're at the end of the line by definition. This is also never going to be force emitted. Neither will you or you. Well, you might be. We'll see later. I think these are the ones that might actually need to be force emitted, now that I'm looking at it. All we have to do, though, is get these all to compile first, and then we'll go back through and make them correct. Why is that if on the outside of the function call? That's so stupid. 1 second. I guess the problem is, no, we're passing s.write in. It's just that s doesn't doesn't contain the item end, I guess. I don't get it. When does write item get set? There it is. A little bit nervous that it's important to have that up here, so I'm just going to move it up there. I'm not really sure why it would be, but it might be. For instance, max could be changing. So now what we can do is anywhere where it says item end, that's actually s.write.item end. See how nice it is when your jumper jumps you straight to the thing you're jumping to? And then what we can do is pop over here and say you contain your own if right dot item is less than right dot item end. Then go ahead and do that. And then all of these can just get eliminated. Not sure why none of these guard against that, but this one down here does. I guess we're guaranteed to always have at least one is the idea. Not sure why this one doesn't act like it's guaranteed to always have at least one. Okay, so that's a nice start. Now what I want to look at is how do I emit normal characters usually? If we're doing a new line, we emit a space. If we're doing code point, advance, that means we're doing our normal character right here. Our tab goes here, our /r goes here. And then if we're doing a number style advance, that goes down here. Okay. So what we want to do is always force, in this section here, all of these that are saying false actually want to say true or false potentially, and they'll say true if they're the first of their line. Yikes. Don't like it. Gotta change something. I like this. It has a nice symmetry to put that separately into each chunk because this sets it true and each of these set it false. It's kind of nice. Having this like if and then else for the true and the false version only really saves you one duplication of this, but it creates this weird nesting concept as if both of these are related more to each other than they are to this, which I don't really feel is true. They are all very different from each other, just basically completely, so I don't see any reason why they should be grouped together for that one shared concept. Okay. Still not working. Okay. What is the hang-up then? Alright, first I want to get us scrolled such that the very first thing in the buffer is affected by it. There we go. Boom. Wait. That works. Okay, so the red line there is working. It's the second thing down that doesn't get it. Why would that be? I'm just going to have to walk through that, so let's do that. So the idea kind of is working, it's just not working enough. Oh hey, it's right where I need it to be. Alright, so here we go. First of the line is true. We come in here. Okay, we're going to have to resume to here. Interesting. Anyway, okay, we're not past the end, and we're not out of memory. Do not do a new line. Ah, do a code point advance. Great. Oh. So if the first thing is white space, then the skipping white space thing still gets it. I guess what we need is and just simply an and not first of the line right there. Okay. Come on, why is that not working? Whoops, I did that totally backwards. Shouldn't be and not, it should be or. I guess technically what I really ought to do is this. If we're skipping white space, else if it is the first of the line, then just go ahead and say, look, we're skipping white space, fine, I get that. Just let me put a space right here. Nothing else, nothing weird. No flags. Just let me put in an invisible little space. And boom, there we go. Almost. So I guess the other thing we have to do is if we ever wrap a line, we still need to make sure we're inserting something for that line always, and we're not doing that yet. How do we know when we are doing a wrap? Okay, so from right there, I think I can see what we need. So s dot first of the line. How does that get used? Right. So what we're going to need is s dot first of the wrap. All right. There we go. All right. There we go. Perfect. Perfection. And that's it. That's it for the day. This gets us very close to being done with a lot of big stuff. So I'm going to spend the next couple days doing this a little bit more. I want to send some builds to people who I can't repro their bugs, but I think I fixed them. See if they can confirm they're fixed. So there's a few more I's to dot and T's to cross, but this thing's almost ready. This stuff here is going to be about like my tomorrow project to get this thing done, and then Tuesday it should ship. So thanks for hanging out, everybody, and I will see you all later. Bye bye.